Welcome to the AI for You Cafe. Today hosting Wille Ollikainen, the research team leader of Applied Cryptography Research Team at VTT. With this talk, why should you be interested in HELIOS? My name is Carmen McWilliams, and I'm the moderator and organizer of this cafe. I'm the director of the company Grassroots Arts and partner in the AI for You project. And today I have a co-organizer with me, Teresa Hu. That's
Hi.
Teresa in the cafe, who also works for Grassroots Arts. And this cafe session is this time a cross-project collaboration between the two Horizon 2020 European research projects, HELIOS and AI for You. Please take notice that the session will be recorded. No confidential information shall be shared in this cafe session. In this cafe, the speakers express their personal view and opinions. This is not necessarily the official AI for You or HELIOS project opinion. So what's the cafe about? The cafe offers a series of live web sessions which take place regularly. The cafe is an online forum to gain insight into the European research scene. Participants get the chance to share knowledge and experiences. So I see the participants coming into the cafe. Welcome everybody. This is interactive. Please send us your questions. This is very important, which I will read after the presentation of the speaker to Wille. So now we come to the main points to Wille Ollikainen. I will now introduce you shortly. Wille Ollikainen received his Master of Science degree in Technical Physics in 1989 from Helsinki University of Technology with an academic minor in Industrial Psychology. In 1990s, he worked at technical R&D of a broadcasting company, MTV Finland, with the main responsibility for developing broadcast, automation, regional advertising systems, and interactive teletext services. Since 1999, Mr. Ollikainen has been working at VTT Technical Research Center Finland as a senior scientist focusing on media integration and new media technologies, excluding a 2.5-year period of entrepreneurship in a data security company which he was establishing in 2007. He has contributed to about 30 patent applications, and his current activities include distributed technologies in the areas of recommendation system and social media. Mr. Ollikainen is currently working as a research team leader of Applied Cryptography Research Team at VTT and is coordinating an EU-funded peer-to-peer social media platform project, HELIOS, since 2019 until 2021. The field of his planned doctorate thesis relates to privacy in online service personalization. So very impressive, and thank you, you're here, Wille. Thank you. Hello, and now I give you the word and the moderation so you can introduce yourself as well, and I will now make you the moderator. So, yes.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. So once again, my name is Ville Ollikainen and I'm coming from VTT Technical Research Center of Finland and representing the project HELIOS today, which I'm coordinating. So do you see my screen now?
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. So the presentation is about HELIOS. Here is the structure of the presentation. Actually, I hope that this will be like 30 minutes or 40 minutes so that we get time for questions. But first of all, a few words about the background of HELIOS, then the explanation what the HELIOS is all about. Then some interesting features in the process of the project, namely a design fiction which relates to the science, technology and arts part of HELIOS. Then technical stuff, bits and pieces under the hood, and then some sample features what HELIOS contains. And finally, there is the advertisement of HELIOS challenge. So, background of HELIOS. This is funded by European Co-Commission under the program Horizon 2020. This is a research and innovation action, which is abbreviated as RIA. And those who don't know what research and innovation action is and how it differs from innovation action, is that the research and innovation action is seeking for ideas beginning from quite low technology readiness level. So, and it's assumed to end to the point where the ideas are validated in a related environment. Not necessarily with the final users, but if we get there, the better. So typically area projects are quite risky projects compared to IA, which IA is more like then innovation action, beginning from once validated ideas and then going to the end users. That's the IA. But we are not IA, we are RIA. For the project, we got €5 million funding from the Commission, and we have here 14 partners in eight countries. So who the partners are here? So first of all, VTT, my employer. Just a second. I have to move the window a bit so that I can see what I'm showing. We are coordinating the project, and also we are preparing the HELIOS core. That's the technical core inside the nucleus of HELIOS platform. I will tell a few words about it later. Atos is another large partner here. They have been doing integration of HELIOS, also video streaming and dissemination parts. CERT from Greece about group communications and 3D tools. SwissText has been focusing on topics like citizen journalism. Trinity College Dublin, I have to move once again the window a bit. Their responsibility has been in concept design, interest, and organic graph creation. So how the social networks are evolving over time. And this concept design has been done in cooperation with Escola Massana. That's the artistic part of HELIOS, and they have using their methodology called design fiction for the purpose. UAB, Universitat Autonoma de Barcelona, Barcelona Autonomous University, their part has been validation, piloting, and also the ethical part of the project. So whenever we are dealing with people, with humans, it's essential that we take good care of ethics as well. University of Polytechnical University of Valencia is in our consortium as well. The Leni Institute there, they have been studying neurobehavioral feedback and doing lab tests here. So what this is, I will show a couple of slides at the end of the presentation. University of Passau, just like ethics is important for the project, also the legal and regulation compliance is equally important, that we are not breaking any laws, and possibly also if we see in the project that some part of the regulation is not fitting well to HELIOS-like solutions which are peer-to-peer, then of course it is our duty to report also for the regulation makers that this should be improved. University of Helsinki, privacy and security design. Links Foundation, business ecosystems and exploitation part. Nagoon, SME from Stockholm, that's augmented reality. University of Pisa, Italy, egocentric social graphs. That's the main study. They have done a lot of work in this project in many respects, but this is like the nucleus of their doings. Worldline has been developing payment and rewarding. That's actually based on Ethereum. And last but not least, Grassroots Arts, and that's UI UX design. Yeah, Grassroots Arts is a SME from Germany. So here is a note that this is a RIA project, and depending on the partner and depending on the contributions. So I mentioned this technology readiness level, that it's typically quite low in the RIA projects. So also here we have lots of differences between the outcome of different partners. So don't expect to see everything that the project has produced in GitHub. That's the place for the source codes. Most of it will be there, the core will be there, but there is also some company background technologies involved in the project, which of course prevents it to be completely published. Background technologies are important part in this project as well. So what is HELIOS? So we have been doing a peer-to-peer decentralized social media platform, and the name platform refers to a technical platform. We are not trying to make a platform as an ecosystem, but we are making bits and pieces for peer-to-peer social media. Now you may ask first, most of you know already what peer-to-peer is, but just to be on the safe side, peer-to-peer means that the communication between people is taking place between people directly. So this is the difference to a centralized approach, which is typical for the services like Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, just name it, which are collecting information from the users and also from the advertisers to the hub. And then the messages are passing through the hub. So we don't have any such hubs in our system. So the communication is taking place directly from person to person when we are sending a message. This is peer-to-peer. So we are providing a toolkit to build secure social media services. So actually whoever wants to build their own social media, feel free. Take our toolkit. With some Android skills, you can make your own social media services. We already have some sample applications there, which are privacy by design, group communications at the moment. And these apps can be used as such, or then as a basis for further development. Besides the basic group communications, one-to-one communications, we have also novel functionalities available for the developers in GitHub. And those relate to contextual communications. So this contextuality means that we are in our life, we are in different contexts. We are in our home context, we are in our work context, if we are in a sailing club, we are in a sailing club context, and so forth. So the communications also must respect that in which context we are right now. That is the communication which is activated at the same time. I will also shortly present an illustration of that shortly. Information overload, so that if there is a message coming from a different context where we are right now, that is delayed if we are busy. Katri Grenman was presenting last week the details of this information overload study, so I don't go there any deeper today. Trust between People is important in all our social contexts and also in social media as well. Feedback, which is often difficult to get from social media services. That is one aspect that Helios is supporting, and also rewarding. So we may pay for content, we may tip for an artist who is making some producing some content and so forth. So these functionalities are available, or if they are not now available, they will be available by the end of the project. So as we see it, the Helios is based on a modular and extensible approach. So these are the modules which we have been making. You can just imagine pieces of Legos which you put together and then build a castle or what you build there. The same way you can take these modules you need for your social media application, put them together, and voila, there you have your social media service. And also, if the modules are not enough for you, you can create new module which takes care of some functionality, share it with others, and then the others can make social media services with your add-on module there as well. We welcome third-party developers to develop new services modules. This is what the challenge is about. And important also is that whenever you are making a new service, it can use the existing data there, what you already have. On a conceptual level, Helios is supporting providing real-life social experience. So it is inspired by real-life organic networking in 3 dimensions. So that's the contextual that's mentioned. Spatial, so the places in a certain location we are communicating with people, and also temporal. So if there's a long time no see people in our social networking, those connections may weaken over time. At the same time, when we are on a regular basis keeping contact with our friends, those can show like they are stronger connections. And all these relate also to trust, that the platform is indicating what is the trust between different people. From these concepts, we started our project with design fiction, and the design fiction is the methodology used by our partner Escola Massana. And from our project point of view, this is addressing to the topic of STARTS, which is science, technology, and arts. So how the artistic skills can support the science and technology development. And how it is implemented in Helios project, we have been using art students to create use cases, and also keeping the ideas fresh throughout the project. I have a couple of examples there. And of course, all this happens together with the project team. For instance, this is how we started. So all of these are, by the way, from our public deliverables. So when we started the project in the very first meetings, we started to look for some shining stars for the project group, so that we have something where we can say that this is the direction where we are developing our technologies. We are not necessarily saying that we are doing exactly the use cases that we define in the beginning, because the world is changing. This is a 3-year-old project, a 3-year-long project. So the world is changing within 3 years a lot. And as we have seen, also the COVID has been there in between the project. So we have been considering these use cases that they are like shining stars, inspirational. They are guiding our development, giving some advice what is needed in the modules, and then we are aiming towards them to implement them. So in the design fiction process, it's, as you see, there's a certain procedures there. Started with 15 use cases, then merged, pruned into 6, and then finally got into 3. And this is one example of the design fiction process. We have had our use case descriptions. We have the connections diagrams, how the different places, devices, persons are interconnected in this scenario, and then going to have a look how this case is scoring eventually. And this is how we got the use cases done, based on the design fiction, based on the arts part. Then, as mentioned, we get into COVID era, where the social life changed a lot. We had lockdowns. We were not able to see our friends visiting. Even here in Finland regions, were isolated, like the region where I am right now. We had like one month long blocking that no one was allowed to leave or enter this area. So having a huge impact on our social life, and also, as we know, all around the Europe, pretty much the same situation, more or less. So here it was part of the design fiction process also to address these changes, that how these innovation goals we had in the beginning, how they are reflected then to post-COVID world requirements. And as an example, this is keeping the ideas fresh in the project. The design fiction process came out with 27 different scenarios in the post-COVID world, that how the implications have been developing. One of those, just have to point out here, is a HELIOS elder, which is quite interesting. It's like the grandparents have not been able to see their children and grandchildren. That could probably HELIOS have an application to address that. Or library, people want to have more reading and so forth. 27 altogether. And now it's time to get a few words about the technology in the HELIOS. As said, we are making tools for social media services, the platform. One of the key topics what we have here is our key terminology. What we have here is an ego network. What this means is that if we would have a centralized server, it would be easy that in the centralized server someone would be drawing a graph that is not egocentric. It is just a bunch of people who are somehow connected to each other. Now these ego networks are a bit different. So here is the ego, which is like myself, and then my friends who are alters around me. So that's my personal connections. So these alters, from their perspective, they are egos, and I am one of their alters, and they may have in the same context then other friends around them. So this is how the network is building, how the contextual network is building. We also have here different layers illustrated as our contexts. So this black one may be like our work context. The gray one may be like our home context, and a sailing club can be with stripes and so forth. We may have as many contexts as we wish. Each one of these contexts have slightly different networks. But there may be same people in different contexts. How these things reflect to the operational part of HELIOS is that for instance, trust may be such that in one context, I have 100% trust to a person, let's say a nanny who is taking care of my kids when I am not at home. I have 100% trust on her. But then we may be in local politics and we have somewhat different opinions there. The very same person, when we are switching the context, the trust level may be much less. And also the communication frequency and strength of the link between me and my alter, that may be different in different contexts. This is important to understand. Technically, this is the old drawing. This is actually from our proposal and from the DOA, but it holds pretty well, understanding how we are building on top of an hardware. I have to say right now that the approach with what we have had is Android first. So there is, as you know, Android devices and Apple iOS devices. Making both of them would have been exhausting the project resources, so we took in the proposal phase already the most popular platform, technical platform there, which is Android, and started to have a look how the HELIOS would work, or the implementation, how the HELIOS will work on Android. But it's Android first, so we have not been forgetting iOS, but it is not the primary scope of the project. So on top of the device operating system, we have been building the HELIOS core, which is taking care of the communications part, also the personal repositories and so forth. And then we have the system modules which are adding on functionalities on top of the core. And all these are then available for the apps. So who is developing apps, they can address directly the core, the communications, the networks, or they can use these system modules there, which then have these fancy properties like information overload control, or evaluating trust between friends. More technical view of the same topic is over here. So we have different APIs available for developers. The core has certain basic functionalities what we are seeing that these are like mandatory for the HELIOS concept. Extension modules are adding on new features there. Well, media streaming is one of them. It's not always necessary in all services, but in some services it is really important, just like rewarding tipping, getting paid for content and so forth. And then on top of them are the applications, like what we have here, journalistic application, which relates to the citizen journalism activity we have in the project. This is the way how the HELIOS core is now built. So if we have different HELIOS applications on the phone, each one of them have their own HELIOS core, their core components, and then the selected extension modules built in. This is the way how it is, how it will be by the end of the project. But then as a further plans for the future development, we have been designing things in a way that it is very possible that the phone has only one HELIOS core, and the component and extension modules exist there only once, and the APIs are then available for different applications. I have absolutely no idea how many of you are perhaps from the executive part of your institutions and companies. So I included some ecosystem view slides here. How this ecosystem could work in a peer-to-peer approach and open source life. So here we have on the bottom technology providers. Then we have Helios developers, which are making the applications. So HApp means Helios apps. So apps which are utilizing the Helios modules. And then on top we have these communities where we have prosumers, businesses providing different services, selling tickets and so forth, and of course Helios end users who are then using the tools, the platform for communication. Mostly we are using Apache license, Apache 2.0, which we selected that it is the most liberal way to make it sure that the outcome of the project can be widely adopted. One part of the project has been rewarding modules by Worldline, and here is one illustration. I really don't go to the details of it, but just a reminder of you that this is one part what we have been developing in the project, which actually is lacking from the platforms we have today, like Facebooks and so forth, because those companies, they want to get all the money. And so in our case, the money goes a bit differently because this is peer-to-peer, and for that purpose, we need a rewarding payment mechanisms within the platform to make it viable. Some sample features what Helios includes are video delivery, and in this case it is a 360-degree video. This is how it looks when it is flat. The video is flat. You can see the room going around. So on the right hand side, left hand side, you see that where the room ends at this right hand end, it continues on the left hand side. So it is like rolled as a circle, plus then also up and down is connected as well. So it is a 360-degree altogether. Spherical vision. One important part of the Helios has been what the UPV, the Polytechnic University of Valencia, has been doing, Leni Institute there, and that is the emotion recognition. So this is also one part which is lacking from the current social media pretty much. And now I have to say, when I said in the first place that this is a RIA project, research and innovation action. So some of the TRL, some of the technology readiness is lower than the others. So if we think about the Helios core and the communications, that has been reaching quite a high TRL. So we can make applications which are using the core and the communications. That is TRL 7, TRL 8 in the 9-step scale. But then what I'm showing next, this is more or less there on the lower side of the TRL level. So this is how the emotions are recognized. And if you are publishing something in social media, like in the Twitter, you get the feedback only in the form that if someone is responding to your messages. If there is a total silence there you really don't know that was my posting good or bad. You have absolutely no idea. And I would say that this is one of the handicaps that social media has today. So this is how we are trying or are getting and addressing that topic, to get the emotions that the message has been raising, and then aggregate them, send back to the sender of the message, and then get some sort of overall idea, not the personal idea that who is thinking what, but as an overall, that was this positive or was this negative. One way is to have image recognition. If you are smiling, if you are not smiling, you have also front camera in your phone. One is that when you are texting, let's say putting a message back, that's a sentiment that can be analyzed. Was it positive? Was it negative? But then the interesting part, and this goes very low TRL. This is very basic research, I would say, is that get this emotion recognition from different sensors, like the accelerometer of a mobile phone. So the way you are holding your mobile phone at the moment when you are receiving a message which is positive or negative from your perspective, can you detect that with an accelerometer of your mobile phone? Or how it reflects to your brain waves. So EEG is the brain waves. The frontal is there in our forehead, and cortical, to my knowledge, is the sides of our brains. So are the positive and negative emotions reflected differently in these areas of brains? Now this sounds like a science fiction, but we already can buy from the shop, and they are not even expensive ones, these kind of sensors that you can use in your forehead, and there are some games that you are just thinking and try to control a mouse or something with barely thinking about it. So these are like the EEG sensors there. And as we are today used to our headphones, who knows, someone someday will get an idea that, okay, why don't we have a sensor in our headphones as well? So it's not so much science fiction as it first sounds. Our heart rate, EGC, that is one part. How are these positive or negative messages influencing on our heartbeat? That's quite, let's say, trivial. And now we first think that, okay, do we have to have sensors? But as we know that this can be measured by many ways, even in a mobile phone. Your face is changing the color when your heart is beating just slightly, but I have seen an application that really detects that, okay, your pulse is 78, and it's just the changes in the facial color. So in the lab test they used the real devices, but we already see that there is a short gap that the technology developers can take then to get the TRL level to such a level that it could even be a consumer device. And EDA is the skin conductivity. Is the skin conductivity changing when the messages are positive or negative? This I wanted to show you as an example of the let's say most basic research that we have had in the project. So this was the end of the actual presentation, but there is still one more thing, and that's the cherry on top of the pie. And the cherry on top of the pie is that we have an ongoing challenge, HELIOS challenge, and you still have time. This challenge is already open, but if you got interested, in the previous slides, in the previous presentations, you have some Android programming skills, or you know someone who has skills, then feel free, pass on this information, make a registration to the HELIOS challenge, and we will assist you to make an application on top of HELIOS tools. Well, this might be a small piece, but the first team gets rewarded by 1,500 euros, and the second team 500, and third team 300 euros. Plus, what is even more important, that you will get the personal diploma or company diploma, if you wish, that you have been here in this HELIOS challenge, and you have been rewarded by the prize. So you can use it easily for advertising your company, your skills, your team skills, or even for your personal purposes in a CV and so forth. And even though you wouldn't be interested in the prizes and diplomas, clicking registration of HELIOS challenge opens the direct access to our developers. So we have been dedicating our developers to answer your questions, assisting you using HELIOS tools. So if you want to have true insight what is there, then register to the challenge and get all the information, all the technical stuff from our guys, and hopefully we would get to our challenge an application from you, which then will win. So once again the slide, and here ideas, thoughts. I'm all open. We are all open. You can feel free to contact me directly. Here is my email address, first name, last name @vtt.fi, and my phone number. Okay. So this was the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Ville. Very interesting, really exciting. Because my first question is directly, how can one participate in the challenge? I mean, I hear there's 2 to 4 people. So, but if I don't have another person, so I must find another person, no?
Yeah, we are expecting teams from 2 to 4, but if you are working alone, feel free. You are welcome. If you have 6 people in your team, you are welcome. So there is no upper and lower limit, but this is roughly what we thought that probably a successful thing, but might take. But as said, please join.
And the second part of my question is any natural person. You don't, no, can be a natural person, a student, anybody, no?
Yeah, certainly, wherever in the world. If it's New Zealand, welcome. In France, in Europe, welcome. Anyone. In Russia, welcome.
Great. Yeah, I want to also, maybe Teresa, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. My question is concerning the use of data. In your presentation and also on your website, you mentioned the HELIOS use cases, where you, I quote from the website, it is a social network that links people based on attendance to cultural events. I understand that it includes a process of working with private data. What I would like to know is how exactly is the security of the user's data guaranteed?
Okay, so first of all, the basic principle in HELIOS is that whatever is in your is your data, it is in your own phone. So that is the basic principles. There may be some exceptions, like finding people like you, matchmaking, where you must disclose something, but then it is saying that okay, are you sure you want to do it? but basically all the communications, all your networks, you have the name of your alters. In some cases, you have also how two alters are connected, but basically it is just that like an address book, nothing else. Did this answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Yeah.
It did.
Then when it comes to the events that we would have like a meeting room table there, and this meeting room table has a certain beacon, and this beacon helps people to quickly connect to each other. That's one aspect in HELIOS and one of the concepts in HELIOS. Then the beacon itself is a dumb one, so it's just helping to contact, as if I would contact now with you.
Okay, then one question that kind of follows my first one. When you talked about the decentralized app, when it goes from peer to peer, is that when I write to a friend, for example, of mine, where does the data then go? It has to be saved somewhere, or is it just on my phone and my friend's phone and nowhere else?
Nowhere else, yes. So technically, as we know how internet is built, there must be rendezvous points in the public internet, which are making it possible that two people from totally different networks to different network address spaces, and firewalls, that they get contacted. So we must have something there, and this is what we are calling relays. So all the arrangements need one place which assists in contacting people. If you are within the same subnetwork, then you can contact directly. We are using LIP peer-to-peer toolkit for this low-level transport layer today.
Okay.
But we are a bit agnostic about it. We can change it, or someone can change it later on to another one. So we are not so dependent on that it has to be LIP peer-to-peer. But within this project, it is LIP peer-to-peer, what is the transport layer.
Okay.
So
sorry, Carmen. As the further question, you asked that is the message just between you. There's also the question that the other person may be in a flight mode, so it is not, the phone is not on, and you are sending a message. So it keeps on trying as many times that then the other one is online, and then the message is delivered. That is how it works.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, now comes from our audience member. His name, I think I'm allowed to say, because he says you know him, Wille. His name is Vladimir Kuparinen.
Oh,
yes.
Hello, Vladimir.
He has this question. HELIOS is open code, I presume. How could I leverage it for my public library project? Wille knows. I just
okay.
Wille knows about my
good.
project. I wish to use HELIOS in 2 hackathons now.
Okay. GitLab, no, GitHub. We have now polished the codes which we think that are has the most maturity. Yes. They are in the GitHub, available for everyone. It's the public place. There are also instruction videos how to build apps. Some samples there, as well as a sample apps that this is can be your starting point. That's the way to go if you want to learn yourself. If you want to save your time, register to the challenge, and you will get further assistance also from our developers. So I encourage to take this opportunity that the developers are available for you for the weeks to come. So you get assistance for this development. Welcome to the challenge.
So Vladimir, I hope this was a good answer, and that means basically take the chance, because now you will get real human support. Now HELIOS partners will help you, which is, I think, a great chance. So that's good reason to participate in this challenge, I think. So next question comes from Anna Morales. Yeah, but Vladimir says, I'll register myself. Thanks. Great, Vladimir.
Okay, good. Perfect. We will keep in touch to you shortly.
Yeah, and Anna Morales, here comes the question. Which type of app do I need to develop to participate in the challenge?
What was the question? Which
type app do I need to develop to participate in the challenge?
Which type of an app?
Do I need to develop?
Type of an
yeah,
app.
type is like what kind of app do I have to no? What sort of app?
Feel free. This is an open idea call. If you have a very basic idea that you would communicate with your friend, that's okay. If you have an idea of sharing goods or sharing rides or anything to welcome, if you have something that is like more let's say advanced, or more goes to science fiction or something, then there may be some subset that okay, let's have a proof of concept of something. So the sky is the limit there for the ideas, what kind and type of the apps we can accommodate.
Okay.
I have a question to that. Is that about connecting people, or is it literally any kind of app, or is it about networking and just in COVID, connecting people, not spending time alone? I don't know. Or is it just really anything at all?
Anything. Connecting people, connecting devices, connecting people to devices, connecting devices to devices. Can be just anything. Just connecting. So you have two entities there. Actually, even in the proposal, we tried to be agnostic. That we are not saying that it is person to person, but it may be person to machine, or machine to person, or machine to machine. So we are only thinking that they are nodes. But of course, the scope of a social media is that there are human beings, but the platform supports whichever you have.
Okay. So I have another question. It's basically, I mean, this is Carmen's cafe question all the time, but I'm gonna ask you, Wille, how do we get more young people involved using our wonderful developing and testing our novel information technologies which we are developing? I mean, we are trying in a moment, but do you have any recommendations how to get more talents testing our technology?
So I would say that the biggest thing here is that you have the tools, you have the components. When you get the ideas as well, then you can make your idea come true with the tools. It is quite difficult if you have nothing there as a basis to begin with. If you have to start thinking about the communications, that how the communications is going, and if someone is in a flight mode, how am I dealing with it? If I want to send messages to different people, how can I handle it? Well, the tools are taking care of that. You just have to program the upper layer there. It is not possible if you are a Facebook user. You cannot do all you want to do. But if you have Android skills today, then you can make it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
Teresa, last question, or because now it's time.
It is. One question is kind of similar to yours. I was just wondering also about the general phenomenon that people are really desensitized for the question, what happens to my data and who uses it? There has been, I guess, an extreme change in awareness, and I was just wondering if HELIOS has any ideas how to sensitize or resensitize people that data security includes their everyday life, even if we cannot see or maybe understand it. I mean, it's kind of the what HELIOS is trying to do, the data security, but younger people, but also everyone kind of does not understand how important that could be.
Yeah.
That's just how I was wondering how you could tell people that.
So you mean the awareness, that how aware they are about their private data, where is it stored and so forth. Well, I have to say that in the beginning of the project and even writing the proposal, we had some activities about privacy in the background, and it is very often people just feel that they have nothing to hide, especially from the social media providers, and it's a fair deal that I will give my data and then they are utilizing it, but I get the services for free. And I have no second opinion of that. If people are willing to do it, then they can do it. In Europe, we are in a good position. We have GDPR, so that has a certain limit or sets the certain regulation that how the users can be treated, and that's good. But beyond that, we see also many countries which are not into Europe, and I think in these countries people are very sensitive that which of their own data they are putting to external services, because someone can then get the ideas that with whom am I communicating and what is the communications and so forth. So the awareness, I would say, is something that when there are good services in peer-to-peer platforms, that will be the key. Then the people start moving there. So I'm more now inclined to the topic that we must have good tools to develop new services than good tools to provide privacy, although these tools are privacy preserving. But the emphasis is different in my mind now than it was 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So, and for the ending of this nice cafe session today, I do read what Vladimir wrote, because he said he also has an answer to my question, how to get more young people involved. And Vladimir's answer is, my answer to Carmen's question for young people, students, engagement: we develop technology of globally dispersed books to be available locally, unique book as a gift, like free textbooks via public library. So you can save $1,000 annually costs for US students' textbooks, for example. That's a great example, Vladimir. So if you use on top HELIOS technology for this, then we are in the boat.
Yeah, and I would add not only books but also audio books. That would be then a perfect portfolio.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Wille, for joining us. This was really a nice coffee today, and thank you, Teresa, for your great questions and co-moderation, and thank you for all the nice participants in the cafe, and Vladimir the last. Yes, on top of Helios ebooks and paper books. Yes, audiobooks. So. And Eugino says also thanks, and I hope I see you next week back in the cafe. And as always, you will get an invitation. And as always, I send to Wille the recording first, and only he decides if we publish. If yes, then you know it's on the AI for EU video channel, which you have in your invitation, but it depends on Wille. So, and if you have direct questions to Wille, please ask him directly. For example, can you send me the presentation or whatsoever you're direct, how can I participate in the challenge and so on. The best person to contact is Wille. So, and thank you again and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you
Bye.
all. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Teresa. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.